Hi everybody, this is chapter 10, muscle tissue. So what is muscle tissue? Muscle tissue is composed of cells that have the special ability to shorten or contract in order to produce movement of the body parts. Muscle tissue varies with functions and locations in the body. And it's also broken down into 3 types of muscle tissues, which is the skeletal, smooth, and cardiac muscle tissue. In picture A, this is a picture of a skeletal muscle tissue. Picture B is a picture of a smooth muscle tissue. And picture C is a picture of a cardiac muscle tissue. So there are qualities of muscle tissue, which is excitability, which is the ability to respond to a stimulus when may be delivered by a neuron or a hormone, and then it sends an electric wave called a action potential along the entire length of a membrane. And there's elasticity, which is the ability to recoil or bounce back to the muscle's original length after being stretched when it's relaxed. And then there's intensibility, which is the ability of a muscle to be stretched or expand, and contractility is the ability to shorten when it's stimulated. And then there is muscle similarities, and all of the 3 muscle tissues, the skeletal muscle tissue, the smooth muscle tissue, and the cardiac muscle tissue all has all of these things listed in this slide. So the skeletal and smooth muscle tissues are elongated and are called muscle fibers. And then the muscle contractions depends on 2 types of myofilaments, which is actin and myosin, and all of the muscle tissues have this. And then there's similar muscle terminology, which is the sarcolemma, which is the plasma membrane of a muscle cell. And then there's sarcoplasm, which is the cytoplasm of a myocyte in the muscle cell. And then the prefixes are similar, which is myo, mines, and sacro. They all refer back to muscle. And then once again, there are 3 types of muscle tissues, which you can see here. This is the skeletal muscle tissue, and then this is the smooth muscle tissue, and then this is the cardiac muscle tissue. So these the skeletal muscle tissue, these are some of their characteristics. They have a multinucleate and a strain, and they're voluntary. So which voluntary means that we control them, we make the movements. That's why it's in a voluntary muscle. And it's multinucleated because you can see the multiple nucleuses that are in the cell. So smooth muscle tissue is non-strained, and it's in the walls of the blood vessels, and it's involuntary, which means that it does its own job. It doesn't have to be controlled by us. And then the cardiac muscle tissue has 1 or 2 nuclei or a strain, which you can see here. Here's a nuclei, and then this is the strain. And it's electrically connected to each other, and it's involuntary, which means, once again, they do their job by themselves. We don't have to control what the actions that they do. So this is a better picture or a close-up of the skeletal muscle tissue. And you can see the epimysium, which is right here, and then the perimysium, which is right there, and the endomysium, which is right about here. And then they have muscle fibers in the middle of a fascicle, which is, you can see right there. So what is the function of a muscle? A skeletal muscle is found between bones and used in tendons to connect the epimysium, which you can see right here, and the perimysium to cover the outer layer of the bone. So the skeletal muscle has 3 important connective tissue, which is the epimysium, the perimysium, and the endomysium. And the epimysium is a sheet of fibroelastic tissue surrounding a muscle. It wraps each muscle, and it has a dense irregular connective tissue. The perimysium is the sheet of connective tissue surrounding a bundle of muscle fibers, and the endomysium is a dense connective tissue that surrounds the entire the muscle tissue, which has the muscle fibers, and it has connective tissue of collagen and erector fibers. And then this is a picture, once again, this is a picture of a cardiac muscle tissue. So the cardiac muscle tissue is only found in the heart, and it contracts with cardiac muscle pumps, and it's strained and organized into sarcomeres. So once again, the cardiac muscle tissue occurs only in the heart. It's also only found in the heart, which it performs a coronary contraction that allows your heart to pump blood throughout your circulatory system. It's a strain like the skeletal muscle, but it's not voluntary. The main function is to pump blood throughout your body. Cardiac muscle fibers are contracted together to generate enough force to push the blood throughout your body. Without this kind of muscle, we wouldn't be able to survive, because we need the oxygen and the blood that is occurring in our system of our heart. So that's why the cardiac muscle tissue is very important. And then this is the smooth muscle tissue, and then once again, this is a picture of the smooth muscle tissue, and you can see like the little nucleuses, which are right around here, and then the muscle fibers, which I think these little things right here. So the smooth muscle tissue is a type of muscle tissue which is used by various systems to apply pressure to vesicles and organs. Smooth muscles is composed of sheets and strands of smooth muscle cells, and its presence of walls of hollow organs and reproductive tracts and respiratory tracts in the eyes, and it's also no striations. So once again, the smooth muscle tissue is found in walls of vesicle organs such as the stomach, the urinary bladder, and the respiratory passage. And when I said vesicle organs, I mean except the heart. And it forces foods and other substances throughout internal body channels, and it's not unstrained, it's involuntary, which means it does their own job. We don't have to control it, they do their own job. And that's it. Thank you for listening.